So now, Mary, I want to turn to a city issue. The city and Mayor Barrett, I think this was his proposal, have decided to at least start on taking care of the lead pipe issue in the city. What's going on there?
A few things. So in his budget, he proposed one piece is using some grant money and funding to replace daycare pipes. Obviously, young children are especially at risk of lead poisoning. So that's going to take care of about 300 of the pushing 400, but I think they're about 365. So that's a large segment of daycares. This recent proposal that the Common Council voted on this week is about a cost-sharing plan that was sponsored by Bowl and President Ashanti Hamilton, but really was Barrett's proposal from his budget as well. And that is to start having a homeowners can start replacing their pipes in the event of either emergencies, leaks, things like that, or in planned like infrastructure projects.
To be clear, these are the laterals that come in from the street and go through the homeowner's property.
Right. So it's not the water main that's not lead, but it's the lead laterals that go that extend from the main to the homeowner. To the home. Part of it is owned by the city. The city is saying they'll pay for that 100%. Part of it is owned by the homeowner. It's on their private property. The city is saying that through this plan, they would help pay for it. They pay for 2/3, so that would leave the homeowner paying up to 1/3. It would cap it at $1,600. So, and they could potentially have 10 years to pay. And go on like a payment plan where it could be, $13 a month. But it has faced some opposition. It passed overwhelmingly, but there were 3 people who voted against it. And there's a group led by Robert Miranda that's been very opposed to this and says that the city created this problem and the city should be the ones paying for it.
Take care of the whole thing.
Right.
It'd be 100%
It'd pay
instead
100%.
of 66%.
I'm not aware of any cities that have paid 100%.
Right.
I know Madison did a similar cost-sharing plan. I think it was 50-50 for the private homeowners portion. Lansing, actually, I think technically the city owns the entire lateral, so they paid for it, but I'm not aware of any.
We should
kind of
point out
private.
this comes in the context of the really terrible crisis in Flint, Michigan
Right.
Last year that got so much attention.
Right, and the city is also giving out a limited number of filters. It's obviously a very small portion of filters are going out. When you look at how many homes in the city of Milwaukee have lead pipes, it's like pushing 70,000 homes, about 68,000.
So there are two thoughts about this. One, it looks like and it's interesting that we're coming up with solutions with the filters and the laterals without having a great sense of how serious the problem is.
Well, I was going to ask that question.
Well, I mean, we don't know
good
how
point.
many people exactly, how many children or adults have been affected by this right now, and I don't think there's been any extensive study because maybe some people don't want to know exactly what the answer is. And then secondly, there's a political issue, and that is the 3 people who ended up voting against it are the Southside conservatives. This coalition between the North...
Well, and Rainey.
Rainey, right. But the coalition that we had when Ashanti Hamilton came to power doesn't seem to be holding together in a particular way. I mean, we had an incident several weeks ago where Ashanti Hamilton put out a press release very critical of 2 of these 3 aldermen.
Putting out a press release. It was like warring press releases, basically.
It was, but I mean, it's an interesting thing where, this is basically the mayor's plan, and Ashanti helped get him the votes, and it went through. It's not the oppositional sort of common council that I think some of us thought might happen when he was elected to the leadership
Mary,
post.
the whole question about the extent of the problem is a really interesting one, because isn't it hard to parse out because you have lead paint issues and you have other issues in these homes?
And many people say that lead paint is a far more serious problem in Milwaukee and have been working on that for longer and see that as kind of the number one threat. Critics of that say, well, how do you know? How do you know when a child has lead poisoning, whether they got it from paint or paint chips and whether they got it from water? So I think the one thing that Flint has done is brought this to the forefront where people are just really, really concerned about lead pipes. And it's not like you can have a healthy amount of lead poisoning. It's basically lead is bad.